I've been wanting to talk about this for the last couple of years, but I just didn't have the words that I felt would come out in a way that I'll be understood, at least by my listeners or anyone who's interested to listen. So I waited a little bit to mature out of it to make sure that I wasn't speaking from a place of bitterness, jealousy, or anger. And I think I know myself a little bit now and I'm a bit more firm in my beliefs and my decisions. Although I'm still learning, I think I have a clearer sense of self right now than I did 3 years ago. Today, I want to talk about marriage and babies. This conversation, this year, I've been invited to different forums to speak about marriage and I have declined all of them. I have been doing a lot of interviews about children and being child free because I have a bit more conviction about that. And I'm able to be vocal about my needs about that. But marriage, nimeshindwa because I'm kind of on the fence and I didn't want to give my opinions from a space where, like I said, maybe bitterness, jealousy, or a place where I'm not sure about what I want. Even now, I'm not completely 100% sure about what I want, but let's have this discussion so that by the end of the episode, maybe if you've been thinking about it, or if you're in the same space as I am, or if you already know what you want for yourself, you're maybe able to take the next step towards a decision you make a bit more firmly, because that's what I'm hoping to do for this next decade or the next 2 decades or so. I think I can still get married at 50 or at 60. There's literally no limit and there's no time frame for me, at least in my head. So let's talk about it. I've been thinking about if I want to get married because a lot of people my age have been getting married at least for the last couple of years. Even my younger friends have really been getting married. And a lot of times during that space between preparations and the actual wedding, I'm usually thrown into a space of thinking, oh my goodness, like, how are they doing it? The first thought that comes to my mind is, how are they affording this financially? Like, how are they these people are younger than me or they're my age. I don't know, like, how are they affording huge grand weddings, first of all? Because to be honest with what I have, I don't think I can afford a wedding right now, unless, people chip, as is in the African community, a lot of people chip in, your family members. But I don't know. I just think the kind of wedding I'd want to have would be self funded, like would be funded by my partner and I. I don't know. I don't know. I wouldn't want people to invite people to a party to make them pay, but I understand how African traditions work. These are just my thoughts. So the first thing that I think about is how are they affording this? And then next is how are they finding partners? Like, how are they reaching a space where they're able to say, hey, this is my lifetime partner. This is the person I want to spend the rest of my life with. Because if I look at the last 10 years, if I had got married 5 years ago, I think I'd be very miserable right now. Or if I got married even to the guy I was dating a year ago, I think I'd be so miserable. I change my mind a lot. And I'm not saying I'm not able to stick around in commitment. It's just I don't trust the decisions I've made before the age that I am now. I just feel I was moving from places of survival. I wasn't as healed as I am, rather. I wasn't as grown as I am. I didn't understand things the same way I do right now. So it's just, how do you decide? How do you get to a space where, you're 25, 26, 27, and you're able to say, hey, this is my partner for the next 40, 50 years. This is the one person I want to wake up next to. And I guess most of these decisions are made at a time in a space where people are really in love with each other. Or something else I've seen amongst my peers is people have just been around each other for so long. Like, they've dated since they were 23, 22, 19, and now they're 30. So it's either they break up or they actually do a wedding, So it's like, is it that they fear, the sunken cost fallacy, or is this a real decision that they're making from the bottom of their heart that, hey, we've already been doing this, so why not just make it official? I think I'm a bit scared to get married because of that. And then something else I think is like the financial implications of marriage. When you're by yourself, it's a bit easier to make grand decisions. But when you're with a partner and when you're with a lover, you owe them the care, you owe them conversation and partnership and transparency. So even for big decisions, you have to consistently check in with each other. You have to do stuff together. And I'm not the kind of person who's used to being like that. I'm used to being very much alone. I love to do things by myself. I love to do a lot. I love doing going places by myself. I mean, once in a while I'll hang out with my friends and family and do stuff with them, but it has to be planned out, and then I have to recharge after that. So I can't really imagine someone else being under my space and under my care 24/7 and me owing them that. Not just because I think you kind of owe them, when especially when there's vows made, you guys are under contractual agreement to do some stuff for each other. So you kind of have to fulfill the obligations of this contract. And the way my personality is set up, I like being able to do whatever I want anytime I want. And that includes just sleeping and shutting up. So what happens when I just want to sleep and shut up? And you might say, you can date someone who understands that. You can be with someone who understands that. And it is true. I have been with someone, actually partners who've really allowed me to grow and blossom as myself. But then it's a contract. You have obligation. You can't let this person suffer just because they agreed to be with you the way they are. What happens when their needs start to morph and they start to change, and probably I'm not willing to change at their rate or in their pace or at all. And I have to be there for them. It's a bit difficult, but these are very personal issues that I promise I'm working on for myself, not just for lovers, even for friends, so that I can know how to show up as a better friend, as a better daughter, a better family member, I don't know, a better person in society. I'm trying to find a healthy balance between being there for myself when I need it and showing up for the people that I love in my life, because that's not something I can say that I've always known how to do. It's something I'm learning off the bat right now. And then something else that I've realized is that people don't actually realize that they have autonomy over their decisions once they become grown-ups. Like, you can actually decide if you want to get married and have kids or not, or just get kids or just get married. You can actually decide. You can wake up and say, hey, I don't think marriage is for me. I'm not going to get married, especially because in our culture and the society we grow up in, marriage is really upheld, and people get a lot of benefits from being married, especially socially, and for some people financially. So it definitely places you at a better space. In another episode, I talked about how when you're the single friend who doesn't plan on having kids, nobody really remembers you. It's like you become a bit forgettable. People forget because we're not planning things around your life goals or anything, but the things that are visible are the people who are choosing to have kids, the people who are choosing to have partners, and people who are choosing to get married. They get more recognized in the society, and that's fine. So that's a decision you have to be willing to settle for. Every choice has its pros and cons, but you can totally decide if you want to get married or not. You don't have to do it just because other people are doing it, and just because people are reaching an age. You'll hear people talking about, nimefika 30 na sijapata bwana, nimefika 35 na sina bibi bado. It's as if there's a certain timeline and time frame for you to have to make these decisions, when really you can make them at whatever point of your life that you feel like you're ready to. And that's fine. That's fine, because whichever choice you decide, there's nothing wrong. You just know if you get married at 60 and you wanted kids, then you're not going to have kids at 60. That's the con that you settle for if you decide to wait longer. Otherwise, any choice is right. And also, people don't realize that you can want to get married for different reasons. Like, there's people who get married for love, like they're in love with each other, they want to get married, so they decide to do it. There's people who are taking a more practical approach, like functionality. They're saying, hey, if you become my wife, you can do 1 2 3, I can do 1 2 3. Like, we don't have to pay. Kwanza marriages in Nairobi, how they start is people tell each other there's no need to pay two rents in Nairobi, so how about we move into one house and I can pay the rent and you can buy the food, and then we can just cohabit. And then years in, they're a family and they're together and they've decided to get married. So people get married for very different reasons. And according to me, there's no wrong reason, as long as you people are very transparent about it and you decide for yourself. You can decide to get married for babies. Maybe you just want kids. You can decide to get married for financial gain. You can decide to get married for property. You can decide to get married for visas, for travel easiness, for whatever decision that you want to make for your life, sisi wote ni watu wakubwa, and you can decide, hey, I think if I married you because of 1, 2, 3, we would be able to do 1, 2, 3, and you guys should just be honest with each other. People don't think that. They just think when they meet someone, they fall in love with each other. That's the only reason that amounts for you to get married. But even historically, marriage was contractual between rich, famous families to keep the wealth flowing in between the families. Romance ilikuja juzi kwanza kuconfuse watu so that they're able to procreate in a let's say safer, let me use the word safer environment, in a more controlled environment. Otherwise, it is my opinion that people should know that they can make whatever decisions they want when it comes to marriage. This is my opinion. My personal reason for getting married would be very much for wealth. It would be to secure and create wealth. That would be my main reason if I ever decided to get married. So if you ever saw me somewhere getting married and saying yes to someone, just know I'm getting married to them because in the agreement, I want to get more financially secure and more financially safe. That would be my only reason because I'm not looking to have kids. I'm not looking to just marry someone because I'm in love. I mean, I think I've fallen in love before. I'm not sure. I think I have. I'm able to feel love, but I'm not sure I've felt like the ultimate falling in love beyond the one I feel for myself. And I feel like in that moment, it's very easy to make biological decisions, especially. And I wouldn't want to make decisions at that time because I know how chemically imbalanced I can be when I'm very excited or when I'm very in love with someone. I feel like marriage is such a serious contractual agreement that people need to put more thought into before they just get into it. So for me, it actually has to make sense because as it is in my life, I'm very financially stable, I'm capable, I'm happy, I'm relaxed, I provide everything for myself, I protect myself, I take care of myself. I'm very, very fine by myself. So for anyone to want to come into my life, they have to be coming to improve my life. Otherwise, I'm really fine with not being married. I'm okay. It's not something I'm chasing actively. And I say this with a lot of conviction because, like I said, I've been thinking about this for the last couple of years. And this always comes up when I see my friends getting married. Like yesterday, I was going through my Instagram stories and I saw a uni friend of mine. He got married. He got married this weekend. And I was happy for him. But it's like those feelings started to come up again. And I had to remind myself what I had to try and name the feeling. Like, what is it? Is it jealousy? Is it curiosity? What is it that I usually feel once I see my peers getting married? And I realized it's a confusion. It's just how are they doing it? How are they getting people to agree to marry them? How are they deciding this is what they've settled for? This is what they want for the rest of their lives? How are they sure they're able to make such decisions with conviction at this point in their lives? Because I don't know. I mean, I'm always ready. The way I'm always ready to move places, I'm always ready to move countries, I'm always ready to change careers, to do something new, to change my wardrobe, to change my hair, to change my friends, to change my life, to change my favorite meals. I'm consistently ready and accepting of change. And I don't know if that would like be my ideal life to go to. Also, I think marriage and children requires a different level of openness and the ultimate sacrifice. And I'm not sure how people know that this is a situation that they're able to achieve, that they're able to maintain right now. Especially since I know a lot of people are not doing introspection, a lot of people are not thinking about the decisions they really want for themselves. People are not actually sitting to understand that marriage is like a business, like it's a contractual agreement that you have to actually sit down and think, what am I putting at stake? What decisions am I making? What does this look like for me in the next few years? What does this decision mean? People are not sitting down to talk about it and think about it. They're just falling in love, getting intimate, having sex with each other for a while, and then they're deciding, okay, we've been fucking, so now let's just get married. They're not realizing that you guys are actually tied to each other. Like, this is the person who has to show up for you when you're sick, when you're dying, when your parents are dying, when you're going through depression, when you're broke and you have nothing, when you're sad, when you need to go through chemo, when you go through insanity, when you're going crazy, when anxiety is making you feel scared when you're suicidal, this is the person who's supposed to sit with you and show you grace and kindness and hold you and carry you throughout these periods in your life. Like, are you really ready? Are you ready? This is such a huge, this is the ultimate sacrifice because it's not just words. And I realize people don't think about even their vows when they say things like for better or for worse. For me personally, I'm usually really ready to leave situations when I start feeling like we're going through the worst. And I don't mean like abandoning people when they're suffering. I just mean I do not like to wallow in sadness and in disappointment and in, just horrible situations. So I'm wondering, am I really up to this? Because, and I think it's really smart that I'm able to ask myself these questions. I'd rather ask myself beforehand and then decide than to get into it and then realize, oh my goodness, I'm not cut out for this. I'm not able to do this. And I always talk about how I've never really been in a serious relationship. I've never been with someone that I considered, okay, this is the one person I'm going to get married to. I've never been in such a situation. So I don't know. I'm always so ready to just choose myself when things start to tank. And you can call me selfish, but I'd rather be selfish than even bring a child into this life and realize I'm not willing to share my spare time. I'm not willing to share my food. I'm not willing to share my house with other people. And this is sad because this is people that I should probably be able to love with all my heart. I think that I'm very selfish right now because I'm trying to learn to love myself and to parent myself, to take care of myself, to give myself this love that I feel like I've not been able to receive from anyone else. To just give it myself, to give it to myself right now so that if I do decide to maybe get married and have kids in future, I will feel very satisfied and like I was able to enjoy. And someone can say, oh, when you get married, your husband and your kid are going to love you in ways. No, not now. I'm not ready for that right now. And you know what's crazy? The more I talk about not being ready to get married right now and not wanting kids, the more the suitors that I attract or the people maybe I end up choosing, they try to change my mind. They always propose. They always start to talk to me about marriage and about how what we should do. Like my partners will usually propose very fairly on into the relationship. And most times, this is what leads to us breaking up. It's because, first of all, I don't want anyone proposing to me when they haven't been able to show me that they can be the kind of partner that I need. I just feel like ni madarau to want me to accept anything less than what I know I deserve. So, for instance, somebody is a horrible communicator. They do not communicate effectively, but then they propose to me. What makes you think I would say yes to you? What makes you think that's the kind of dad I would want for my kid? Imagine we need to do a school run. I'm calling you, take care of the kid, and you don't pick your calls. What makes you think you would be the perfect husband or partner or father to my kid? You can go 2 weeks without talking to me. When you're angry, you do not speak with me. What makes you think I would want to choose you as a husband or as a partner? You try to cross my boundaries. You're not affectionate. You're not sweet. You're not romantic. I mean, I could keep you as someone who I'm having sex with, but you proposing just makes me understand you really don't see me. Like, you really don't understand what I want for myself, or you think I don't know my worth. Like, just because I'm having sex with you as my boyfriend doesn't mean that I do not that's what I want in a husband. I'm surely going to choose the best of the best. If I'm to choose someone to settle for, I'm going to choose the one who loves me, adores me, respects me, protects me, loves me, shows me consistently that they want me around. Why would I want to choose someone who doesn't text me back? That would never work for me. So that's actually the main reason I always end up breaking up with my partners, is because they propose too early. And when they propose, I'm talking 3 months in, 1 month in, they propose too early. And I realize you're either love bombing me or you're trying to trap me, because there's no way. You don't even ask me questions about myself when we're speaking. All the time we're speaking, it's very superficial. You know nothing about me. You do not even show me care. Like, you didn't even wish me happy birthday. What makes you think I would choose you? That's so crazy. That's so crazy. And then also mingling with, I've been trying to be very social and I've been putting myself out there. And I've been hanging out with a lot of people that people would even consider, these men people call, oh, high value men. You hang out with them and you realize how we're all just human beings. High value men, high value women. Like, at the end of the day, we're just human beings, and you have to really think about what you want for yourself and what you want for your life, and actually ask yourself questions. Ask yourself the real questions, not just about what's your favorite color. Oh, he told me he likes me. Oh, we have sex every day. No, like ask yourself the real questions and actually see, how does this person handle conflict? How do they react when they are disappointed in you? How do they communicate their needs and their feelings? And how do they react when you say no? When you tell them how you feel, do they get defensive and they start fighting you? Or do they say, okay, I hear you. I want to work on that and I'll fix it? Or do they say, you do this to me all the time too, so I'm doing it to you as well? Like, how do people react? How do they consider you? Do they communicate in time? Do they care about your feelings? Or when you're really going through it, do they make sure you're in a even worse space? Sometimes you're going through grief and your partner is trying to make you feel worse by being very inconsiderate. Like, how do they react to you existing as a human being and being yourself? How do they treat you? How do they love you? And in these proposals that I've received before, saying no has actually saved me from a lot, because I've said, like, the last couple of years, I imagine if I said yes to anyone who proposed to me, I'd be so miserable. Like, I'd already be divorced by now. I'd be divorced like 5 times. And you also really need to listen to men and women. Okay, I always give a disclaimer that I'm largely speaking to women because I'm a woman and I date men. But then you can apply it to any situation. If you're a man, if you're a woman, you can apply it to your effective situation. If someone is telling you, hey, I'm not ready for a relationship, I don't want to be in a relationship, or when they start withdrawing and ignoring you, or they start becoming mean to you, just take their actions and their words for what it is. Stop trying. I have never in my life seen someone being so overwhelmed with love that they have to avoid you so that they can handle it. These things we tell ourselves as women sometimes, that he loves me so much, he just doesn't know how to act about it. So now he's giving me space. He's seeing I'm going through things, so he's giving me space. No. Imagine getting married to someone who avoids you when you're grieving because they don't know how to handle you. This is someone who's going to need to carry you through the death of your mom and the death of your dad. So you really need to think about it. You really need to think about it. If someone tells you, I'm not ready for a relationship, just listen to them and leave them alone. If someone tells you, I'm not, because if they're not ready but they still want to have sex with you, they just want access to you. Well, ultimately, you can decide, do I want to give them access to me, and am I okay with the access we're giving each other? Because I also don't want a relationship. Or do I ultimately want something more serious, something more consistent? You really have to be honest with yourself, because this is your life and this is your relationship. Also, being really, really independent and being able to take care of myself, I think has steered me off of wanting to be in any interdependent relationships. And this stems from even like my relationship with my parents. I'm not the kind of person who likes depending on my parents. That they'll do this for me, they'll buy this for me. It's nice when they do, but I do not like to be in that space, because many a times I've been reminded what it means to be in a situation where you're dependent on someone who then they just snap one day and they decide they do not like you anymore, or they want you out of their space, or they do not like you. Mind you, even your boyfriends, when they like you, they can feel this way. They can feel like they don't want you in their house. You wake up the next day and someone starts coming up with plans. Oh, my friend is coming. My friend needs me. You have to leave. I need to go to work. The next day, you already know they don't want you in their space. So if someone is making you feel like this, these are cues that you should be picking for yourself in that relationship. And a lot of us, imagine we end up marrying people who treat us like this. We don't see these subtle cues. We do not see these small signs where they're being shown to us about someone not wanting you in their spaces. And we end up marrying these people without even asking ourselves, does this person really like me? Do they want me? So being super independent, and I think also being a firstborn, has just shown me that I really can't survive with a loser. I always need to be around people who are very competent, people who can make decisions, people who can take care of themselves, because I do all this for myself, with or without anyone in my life. And also, it's very difficult for me to ask for any help and assistance. So when I'm finally bringing myself to a space where I can ask and then you let me down, or you ignore me, or you don't show up for me, that's just the last time I'm going to do it. So I don't know how I'm supposed to reconcile that within a marriage, because I know the person I marry is not going to be 100% perfect, and they're not going to be able to show up for me all the time. So is this something I'm ever going to be able to reconcile? It's almost as if I'm running away from the disappointments before they even happen. So I'm already anticipating them and just saying, nah, I'd rather be the one who disappoints disappoint myself than having to deal with someone I love, making me go through that heartbreak over and over again. Because, like I said, I've been through it already enough times. I just don't want to feel like that. My mom has always reinforced, have your own money, have your own money. So now I'm not even looking for a partner to take care of me financially. I mean, the care is nice, but that's not what I'm looking for. I already have my own stuff. So I'm actually looking for character and discipline. I'm looking for someone who can show up and love me and take care of us and actually be a family man. So the way people switch up after a few years, how are people being able to make such a convicted decision like, this is what I want and I'm not going to switch up and I'm going to be able to show up for them? Once you involve the government, it's a bit serious. And I know marriage has its own protections as well. I'm not against marriage. That's why I said in the beginning, I've been unable to hold discussions about marriage primarily because I'm not against marriage. I mean, I toy with the idea a lot. Sometimes I think about if the situation is right and I feel like it's something I'm ready for, I think it's something I could say yes to. It's just that I know for sure that right now I haven't come across any situation that has made me feel like this is my husband and this is who I want to marry. So now, because I'm looking for things like character, discipline, the way someone shows up in life, it's a bit more crazier for me to want to settle because it just makes me feel like I'm scared to want to put someone else in that position. And then they disappoint me and I'm going to have to drop them off that pedestal. It just doesn't feel fair. Being child free by choice has also put me in a situation where I really have to be careful about the partners that I decide to be with because they also have to want the same things that I want. I don't want to be with anyone who pressures me to make any decisions that I don't want. I'm not very closed in my decision making. I know we grow and our minds can change at any point. But at right now, this is what I want for myself. And I don't want to put the burden of making someone else settle for what they do not want to just by being with me. Meaning I have to have a partner who also isn't looking to have kids as at least right now. And I don't think that exists in Africa. And I think that's how I know my partner probably isn't African or isn't from around here. A lot of African men want kids. They're so obsessed with this idea of lineage and legacy. I don't know what that means because mostly they have no legacy anyway. And even when I date someone who has the legacy that they want to actually pass down or pass around, it's just the trade off never seems very fair for me. So I don't want to end up becoming a single mother. And the only way to not be a single mother is by never having kids. Because even people who get married and do it the right way in quotes, they still always end up being single married women within their matrimonial homes. So I don't think that's the kind of lifestyle I see for myself. I saw my mom go through that and I saw a lot of the women in my life go through that. And I decided I was never going to be in a situation where I was simultaneously carrying the burden of being very anxious about if my kids were going to be safe and loved and healthy while still providing and protecting them and still having to show up as a woman and as myself in society. That's just a struggle I have never seen myself pick. And I'm just very selfish. I keep reiterating that I'm selfish, and it's true. I'm very selfish with my time, my money, my resources, my life. I like being by myself and being able to spend everything on myself. And the best I can do is having an occasional lover. But even then, it just takes a lot of sacrifice from me. And I don't think it's something that I'm ready to do right now. And, the interesting thing is, like I said, people always try to change my mind. Men have tried to change my mind. They've tried to impregnate me, but I make it clear from the beginning that abortion is very much on the table in my relationships. And of course, that's going to cause an immediate breakup because I keep saying I don't want kids and I don't think I'm ready for marriage, at least until I see conditions that are very favorable for me making this decision. I know a lot of people who are listening to this podcast, especially African people who are not very progressive, are going to be very confused by my views because being married and having children, like I said, gives you status and really upholds your name in the society. So when you're child free and you're in your 30s, moving forward, actually from 25 moving forward, people start to think you're barren or something is wrong with you or people don't want you, nobody wants you in the society, uh, or like you're a prostitute, you're a whore, you're loose, or nobody wants you, something must be wrong with you. But I'm very happy that now we're at a space we're able to have these conversations a bit more openly. And we're also able to show other women who did not know that they had the the opportunity of choice, that it's okay. You can literally decide. You can decide if you want to get married or not. You can decide, I want to get married at 50, I want to get married at 19, at 25, at 74. Whatever you decide for yourself at 40, like you can get married and divorced 5 times if that's what you want for yourself. As long as you're making very informed decisions that improve your life and by extension the life of everyone else who's going to be affected by these decisions. Sometimes I'm not very sure about how I really feel because it does get lonely. I mean, like I said, every choice has its consequences. Choosing not to be in very committed relationships or in marriage or having a kid, sometimes when I go online, especially, I get the feeling like, am I missing out? Sometimes I get a tingle of jealousy because I do want companionship and I do want consistency. I do want consistent sex. I want a reliable partner who, I can feel like is my family, someone I can fuck all the time, someone who makes me happy and, just encourages me in my life to want to be more beautiful and happy. And before you say, you can have this relationship with your friends and you can do this with family. Listen, you can never replace romantic relationships with platonic relationships. And every relationship deserves its own acknowledgement and form of endorsement. And straight women shouldn't be shamed for wanting male validation or wanting to be loved. Women at all, or even men, should never be shamed about wanting companionship. I mean, that's the essence of being a human being, right? I'm always asking myself, like, why is my cat the way she is? She loves being touched, she loves being hugged, she loves being kissed, she loves my company, she loves to be with me. And she's an animal, and all animals react like this. Most animals, if you've hung out with cows, horses, dogs, you'll realize they love the companionship, being touched, being loved. So, as human beings, what's wrong with us just admitting that we want to be in relationships where this is what we're receiving? We're receiving hugs, cuddles, love, kisses, good sex, affirmations, reassurance, somebody to just tell you, I love you, I see you, you're beautiful. This is very, very natural. And sometimes I think about, I wish I had that. Like, I wish I had a boyfriend who I could just go to his house and wear his clothes and use his stuff without the feeling of, oh my God, should I be in this house? Should I be here? I would love to have that feeling. I can go take his car. I can use his card. I can have sex with him. I can travel with him. I can suck his dick. Like I can just be with him. I want that feeling. I want to be able to have a boyfriend who he can come to my house, because he has access. Anytime a man suggests coming to my house, immediately I get a panic attack because it just feels like too much seriousness for me. Like, why would you want? I haven't let a man come to my house. Why would you want to be in my house? That means I have to be a different level of, honest and transparent. I'm thinking, I'm already sleeping with this man. Why am I scared of bringing him to my house? It's because I'm just in a space of a lot more fear than conviction. And that's why I get so surprised when I see people having so much conviction. Like, how do you know you're grown enough to be able to know this is what you really want? And I think in my head, I think we're still all kids and we still maybe all have some form of arrested development. But I realize we all heal differently, we all grow differently. So it's just different. And the jealousy is very normal as long as it's not passing down feelings of, envy and anger and bitterness and just any negative emotion. As long as you can be able to name your emotions and understand, this is nice, but maybe it's just not for me. I mean, it's nice to see my friends, my peers, people online being able to enjoy their marriages and their kids. And it's also okay for me to feel like, oh, what if I had that? I mean, what if I not in a way that you want to covet, but just what if I had that or what if I could get that? Maybe I'd feel more fulfilled because to be honest, my career is thriving and I have everything else I need except that one thing. So sometimes I actually think about what if I had that? I wish I had that and maybe I'll get it. Maybe I'll actually end up getting it and maybe the fairy tales I have in my head are not entirely fairy tales. And maybe to fall in love and get married and have kids, you don't really have to settle. Like you can actually meet people who love you and want to grow with you and push you to be the best version of yourself consistently and always rather than the opposite of that. So it's just me encouraging people to have more thought around these decisions rather than just falling into them because you've been having sex and then, okay, the next step is marriage. No, like, why are you actually marrying this person? Why are you actually getting pregnant for this person? Why are you actually keeping the kid? Why? Why? Is it because your religion doesn't allow? What about you? What about your own internal decision? What about you? What you want for yourself? Where do you see yourself in the next few years, is that something you want? Do you see yourself as a mom? Like, do you see yourself as a wife? Is that something you really, really want for yourself? Think about it before you make these decisions. A lot of times we make decisions out of fear or excitement, but I push the business approach. I'm always pushing for this business approach, like for when you want to start a business. How do you approach it? How do you start? You sit and you write a business plan. You think, you raise funds, you talk to people, you do a lot of consultations, you bring around people that you trust, you do so much research. Why don't people do that when it comes to marriage and kids? They just fall into it. And then years later, now you're not sure, you know? And yeah, maybe taking time to really think is pushing a lot of people away from these decisions. But wouldn't you rather be safe than sorry? And I'm not saying don't get married. I'm just saying, even if you decide to do it, make sure this is the decision that you have for yourself in your heart and it's something you really, really, truly want to do. Will I do it? Will I get married? Hmm, probably. I think I will. I think I have it in me to have at least one marriage down the road. I mean, even just to say I did it. Will I ever have kids? I do not know. For now, let me say no, but I mean, you don't know with life, right? The only way to know that I really will not be getting kids is if I actually go ahead and tie my tubes. But I haven't tied my tubes. I'm just using condoms for now. So it's something I will have to think about. I want you to think about if this is something you're ready for and this is something you want for yourself. And if it's not something that you want, please take time and think about it. There's no rush. Don't let anything push you. Don't let the peer pressure or the fact that everyone else around you is jumping into these decisions. We're very different. Some of us have grown with very different sets of traumas. There's people who've grown up very much encouraged and seeing beautiful, amazing relationships blossoming. And truly, this increases their chances of having amazing relationships. And there's people who've grown up in so much dysfunction and it leaves them at a disadvantage unless they make the intentional decision to do and be better. So please, please take time and think, will this decision improve my life or will it just make me worse? Because remember, especially as women, there's also the hormonal implications. Once you get pregnant and once you have babies, you become completely a different person. So you actually have to really, really think about the partners you choose and the people you choose to be in your life. This is my opinion on marriage. And this year, a few months ago, I had a day. I was in a discussion about marriage, and I will link it in the description on the DWJ show. I talked about my opinions on marriage there. If you want maybe to hear about it and see my face on video, because this is just audio, I think I'll put the link so that you can watch it and tell me what you think. I will still not be taking any invitations to discuss marriage because I do not have a definitive yes or no that I would be able to give. This is just my opinion. This is whatever I've said in this episode is what I will be coming to say if you invite me. I don't have a definitive answer. I'm not against marriage. And also, I'm not the kind of person who's going to push people to get married because I know how marriage affects, especially women. So, my thought of nugget for this is think about the decision that you're about to make very, very wisely and be very open and transparent and have honest discussions about this with your friends and the people that love you, people who are able to be honest with you, as well as your partner. Define things before you get into marriage. You know, some people think marriage is just about having a lover. Some people think marriage is about getting sex every day. And it's until you get married, then you start to see, oh my God, this person wants to fuck me every day. And I'm not the kind of person who has a libido for everyday sex. So please have honest discussions about this and understand it's okay for you to want to do it or not. And it's also okay for you to have different reasons about getting married. So let me know what you think about marriage in if you're gonna do it. And if you've been married, are you happy about your marriage? What are some of the things you do differently? Please leave me any sort of comments in the comment section. I would be very, very happy to hear what your opinions are. Until next time, kwaheri.